We get down with the water rates, sewer rates, and garbage rates.
Yeah, move it after 5/28 then.
You have to have a motion on that.
I move to amend the agenda, approving this ARPA project after resolution.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second to move the approval award for the ARPA project, award that to after resolution 5/28. All in favor?
Aye.
Now the water bond. You guys got any questions on that?
I move to approve resolution 5/28.
I'll second.
Okay, does the public have any comment on our water bond? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, move on to the sewer bond.
Alright. As I said, the contents of your sewer bond are same as far as the substance goes. I'll just go over what the numbers are on the sewer side of this project. So your total project cost is estimated at $736,674. Of that, $308,000 would be paid for by the B bond, so the loan that you pay back over 30 years at 2.5%. And then the remaining approximately $430,000 would be paid through ARPA grants and then also the forgiveness grant. There are less federal dollars available for sewer than for water, and the ratios are lower, so they can't forgive as high a ratio on sewer projects as they can on water projects, but you still end up at a situation where you're borrowing to cover approximately 37–38% of your total project cost. So again, good job, you guys have put your community in a good position. That still is below that. Anytime I see below 50%, you're in the top half of projects around the state. That's a great loan to grant ratio. The forgiveness loan on this project is $295,173, and the B loan that you're paying back is $308,000. Again, if you come in under budget, you would pay off those. You use the ARPA grants first, and then this one, because you are actually borrowing slightly higher percentage in your long-term payback loans and your forgiveness loan. Any dollars you come in under budget, you kind of get net dollars ahead if you can reduce it. You aren't obligated to borrow that full amount, but it is a great opportunity for your community here as well. So again, mirror image everything I said about water, apply it to sewer, and it's the same resolution effectively. Are there any questions folks have?
This is still a 30-year loan again?
Yes, sir. 30 years, 2.5%. There's no prepayment penalties. If you ever guys got in a position where you wanted to pay down early, you can do that. There's no limitations on it. 2.5% money. I mean, you make twice that, keep it in the bank right now, but things might change in the future. If you ever wanted to, you could.
You guys have any questions? We have a motion.
I move to pass resolution 5/25.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does the public have any comment on our sewer bond?
I just wanted to make one quick comment. You guys are the first community where I've got the maximum 49% forgiveness on the wastewater side. The best I've done before was 30, so I was pretty stoked when they came back with those numbers after we worked with the DNRC.
Yeah, I've always thought of that. It was sort of in theory, you could get up to 49%. I didn't really believe that existed. But
yeah, we put in a project budget that came back with the thing and kicked your guys to the max 49%.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So if you work your magic numbers and come in on the budget, we can save even more, correct?
Yeah, so these loans are just like a construction loan, and you don't have to spend them. So if we come in ahead of schedule under budget, we find some ways to save some money, we don't take out the whole loan. The only thing is, as Nate pointed out, the water is 25/75, so anything we save is 25% loan and 75% forgiveness. On the wastewater, it'd be 51% loan, 49% forgiveness. So we have to give it back to them proportionally.
And bring down our totals.
But yeah, that's my goal, is to come in and not take the whole loan out. So.
Yep. Yep. Well, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have Resolution 526, intent to increase water rates.
All right, now you get to the fun part, the how you pay for it part, and this is part of, you know, working through these coverage calculations and what the rates need to be for the community. This is part of how we convince the DNRC to go so max out their forgiveness, because they realize the combination of just the income levels of Fromberg and the fact that you're already facing a situation where you've got to do some rate increases. We were able to sort of lean on that to say, you guys have already got a lot of skin in the game. Even if they max out that grant and loan forgiveness, there's skin in the game here. So the resolution of intention to increase water rates is a resolution required by state law, where you state your intent to increase the rates. We indicate how much that rate increase is going to be, the need for it. And then there will be a publication requirement before a final rate hearing, where the notice of this rate increase, along as the sewer one, will be published for 3 times in your paper. It will also be mailed to everybody at least 7 days prior to the rate hearing, so that folks can get the notice with enough time to show up. The water rate increase notice would be to increase your base rate by $12 from the current base rate for residential active properties of $45 up to $57. That's the same for commercial. You guys don't have a disparate rate for your residential and commercial services. The non-residential active and the non-active rates also go up by that same $12. The DNRs, the way we got to that $12, we do recite the math in the actual resolution of intention. Indicate that the debt service coverage requirements on this plus your existing indebtedness be approximately $53,000 and an estimated annual maintenance and O&M cost of $150,000. If you did the math, you would expect a significantly higher than $12 rate increase. The council is working with Kirsten to catch up delinquent accounts. Typically, DNRC would look at your last year actual revenues and just require that your rate increase be based off of that. That would be at least double at $12. But because you guys are being really proactive about enforcing and collecting delinquent rates, they were willing to allow us to assume that those collection efforts are going to come to fruition with a little bit of a margin and approve this underwriting and this loan at that $12 rate increase. So that does assume that the city continues to take those actions to provide notices to folks, work with them, but be diligent in using the tools that you have to make sure folks pay the water bill. Whether that's ultimately turning off connections, doing the things you have to do, but I understand you've worked out a pretty good process in the payment plan. So we've explained that to DNRC. They're comfortable relying on that coming to fact. So that allows us to do a rate increase that hurts, but significantly less than the math would have indicated if you just took the shortage and divided it by the number of ratepayers. So that is laid out in the resolution of intention. If adopted, that will set a rate hearing for next month, at which point people can come, provide testimony, ask questions about the project, and at the conclusion of that, the council will vote on a rate increase. There will be, the notice that goes out will include both the water and the wastewater. I'll wait on the sewer until we have a motion and discussion and questions on the water side.
Now, in that resolution, did we, I didn't see anything as far as a rate increase per year after this to compensate.
No, I didn't feel like that was a good idea at this moment in time. I feel like you guys need to get through the next year under this rate code resolution, make sure that we are successful in collecting all of that outstanding debt, because as Nathan said, if we weren't successful, then we won't be able to pay this bond debt and operate. So we would have to increase much larger than hopefully we'll have to. So I didn't think it was really prudent to set up like a 4 or 5 year plan at this moment in time. That's not included in these water and sewer ones.
Okay, now, is that okay with you guys?
Yep. Sounds reasonable.
I know that that's something we had brought up.
It is
Last
definitely
month.
something I think you should do. I just don't think you should do it yet.
Now.
Absolutely something you should do in the future.
A year, and should we put that on the calendar to make sure we bring it up again next spring and we talk about it and maybe come up with another resolution? Okay. Any questions? Do we have the motion?
I mean, to approve resolution 526. Yep.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. How does the public feel about a $12 raise in their water bills? Can you please stand up there and introduce yourself?
Now I'll speak. Now, I'm speaking for the whole trailer park that I live in. I understand 2 owners before, not this present one, but the 2 owners before that owed you folks a water bill. Now, I understand that now you folks are going to take it out, what they owed, out on everybody that lives there.
The water bill goes with the property.
Yes, that's incorrect.
Okay, that's what I want to know, so I can tell them. And by the way, my name's Keith Natalie, like anybody else.
And definitely encourage, they do need to come talk to me though. If they got a stamp for shut off, they need to come talk to me because I need them to help me work out what is the landlord's and what is theirs. So they still have to come talk to me, but no, I'm not going to hold them responsible for charges that are not theirs.
Okay.
Okay, but they definitely got a call.
Because I know the previous owner twice before owed 10 grand at least.
Yeah, and I can't speak to that until I look at the account and know what we're talking about. So each individual really should come talk to me. That'd be great.
That way they don't have to worry about getting nailed for something somebody else owes.
Correct, yeah. I would love it if they would come work it out with me.
So Jerry.
Jerry Hall. Did you ever get that money that they owe you, the city? Because didn't they owe a ton of money before the new owner took over?
The trailer park?
Yes.
No.
No.
You never get the money?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't been
remember
through those
just how
accounts
it
very
No,
good
fell
yet.
into it, but as far as I know, it hasn't been paid.
But wasn't supposed to under taxes or the previous owner, or
It was supposed to, yeah.
but did?
It did not get it.
That's why we're where we're at.
That's why we have Christian.
Well,
Any other questions?
Maybe I missed something on this wastewater. How long is where's that start? Where's it end? This is the main, right?
Yes, it is.
The wastewater?
Yeah, the
It
main.
starts just west side of the highway. We're gonna bore under the highway and the tracks and then replace the transmission main that flows to the lift station at the lagoons.
Down by the old jailhouse.
Where?
by the old concrete jailhouse down,
Oh,
just north of town.
okay.
It's just past the Tomahawk is where we start, and then we head east.
Okay. I see.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second to increase our water rates by $12, resolution 526. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is resolution 527, intend to increase sewer rates.
Alright, so the sewer resolution of intention, it works the same, required road sewer, water the same, notice, same publication, same mailings. The math on the sewer side worked out to where you'd be proposing an $8 rate increase from a current active rate of $67 to an active rate of $75 and a non-active rate of $36 to a non-active rate of $44. Again, it takes effect at the same time and is used to pay back those sewer bonds. The math on this one is kind of the same, but it looks like you guys really have talked about, fixed some of the past issues about collection moving forward, and the DNRC is comfortable that once you start collecting with taxes, that Fromberg will come back into line with what the typical delinquency rates are around the state. Right now, you guys are significantly off of average, but that has to do with not collecting with taxes. Those rates moving forward, that delinquency should come back into average. With these rate increases, the expectation is that you guys will hit what you need. But that does put you in a place, like Kristen said, to a year from now, sit down, look where your budget is. Maybe 2 years from now, you've got a little bit of chance to actually collect some of this and just see where we at. See how these new collections are working. But assuming this brings you back into an average delinquency rate in Montana, with some of these collection efforts, especially once you start putting on taxes, you collect most of your rates. That $8 would put you where you need to be. Any questions on the sewer side?
Do you have any questions? Do we have a motion? Okay, we have a motion and second. Pass resolution 527. Do we have any comment from the audience? Increase our rates by $8.
Don't have a choice in the matter.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 528. Intend to increase garbage rates.
So I thought it would be wise to just piggyback off of the water and sewer increases and go ahead and take care of our garbage rate increases, because based on the contract you guys awarded tonight, you were going to pay significantly more than you've been paying the last 10 years. And that way we can save money. We have to send out the notice and hold the public hearing on water and sewer, so we might as well piggyback and throw some garbage in there too. So I went ahead and wrote this one, set the public hearing date the same as the water and sewer. I planned that for 6:30 p.m. prior to our next meeting, so I believe that's June 10th, if I'm remembering right. Yep, June 10th at 6:30, so we can hold the public hearing, then have our regular meeting. You guys have to show up one time still. That rate increase, I kind of looked at both contracts and chose the rate increase based on whether you could choose either contract and you were going to be okay. For most residents, it's an $11 increase in garbage. The garbage carts were $17 and they will now need to be $28 in order to keep that fund in the black. It's not currently in the black. If we collect your charges, it'll get there, but you guys, your garbage fund is always ran a little thin, in my opinion. So I put it at 28. Then the 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, and 8 yards. you don't make quite as much money on dumpsters generally, and so those weren't quite as big of a jump, but they affect just less than 5 people in town, I think. I also changed your nomenclature. You guys had that Connex 1, Connex 2 that was really not relatable in my mind. I just switched it to 96-gallon cart, 2-yard, 3-yard, 4-yard, 6-yard, 8-yard. Hopefully you're good with that. I think it's much easier to understand than your previous one. So then I also implemented within this resolution, I implemented a 4-year plan that will cover the entire length of the current garbage contract that you just awarded, and it will increase 4.5% each year. That keeps you right in line with what you're going to do from a Republic, so you'll continue to make the same amount of money, but you won't start to lose money at some point in that contract.
And
yeah, it is a really nice way to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And I do have to comment that I know that people in Belfry pay about $34 for a garbage can outside the back from the alley. So we are getting a pretty good deal.
Yeah, garbage rates just rose significantly this year. Like, I was shocked when I got those proposals. I did not expect them to go that high. So it's unfortunate, but it is just is what it is. So.
Right.
Everything's gone up.
Yeah, everything has gone up, but it was a lot. So. See?
Okay.
No questions?
You guys have any questions? We have a motion. Motion to raise garbage rates. Resolution 528.
I'll make a motion to pass 528.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to increase garbage rates and pass resolution 528. Do we have any public comment?
If it charges this much money, let us know early so we don't have to come.
So it won't be implemented until July.
Oh,
The
July,
rates
okay.
will change in July. So
Okay.
this is a couple of months' notice.
Okay.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Stan, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Nelson Kirtley. For several years, the council and the mayor have said that they were going to collect these delinquent fees, and it was not done. This time it surely better be done and continued. This is ridiculous. And then, of course, the overpayment for 7 years on our water bills also has to be settled out somewhere or another and made fair. This is absolutely ridiculous. $170,000 behind for a little town in water bills is ridiculous. Please, we have to have this in order. And
Any other
the
comments?
FEMA money needs to be addressed too, $100,000.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Resolution 528, garbage rates. All in favor? Next up on the agenda is approved credit cards for employees and set a
Notice of award of tax.
What?
Oh, yeah, we
ARPA
moved
project.
that.
We moved the ARPA
Oh,
project.
that's right. Okay, next up is approved notice of award task order amendment for construction services for the ARPA project. We have a motion.
Anything else for any place? I move to approve the notice of award and task order amendments for construction services for the ARPA project.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the ARPA project. Do we have any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is approved credit cards for employees and set credit card rates. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all. Yep, thanks.
Hit the road. Bit of a drive.
Next time.
Tomorrow morning, an hour and 8. Oh, gee.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Approved credit cards for employees. Right now,
Would you like me to talk about that?
yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
So I put this on there. Mark currently has a debit card. The clerk has nothing. When Harley left, she had the bank shred her debit card that was in her name, rightfully so. But debit cards make it really hard to balance on a daily basis. And I would like to get you guys to where you have the bank rec module and you can balance on a daily basis. That way you're seeing what's coming through your bank really regular. You don't get to the end of a month or the end of a couple months and be like, where did this money come from? Or what happened here? So I would like to do away with the debit cards and have credit cards instead, because then they come on one statement and you pay them with the claims. There's not these charges all month long. But in order to do that, I wanted approval from you guys, not only one, to have credit cards for employees, but two, so that you could set the credit limit on that. That's something that I feel should be set by the council. So that's what I'm looking for today, is for you guys to, if you so choose, motion to allow credit cards for town department heads or town employees, however you want to word it, and then decide on a spending limit on that card.
What do they need credit cards for?
Well, right now, you can, if you look at your debit card transactions claims, that's what's being spent on them.
I know
would
you spent
also
smokes and donuts and all that stuff on the debit card.
I don't see smokes. If you're referring to cigarettes, I never saw that, but
Yeah, there's smokes on there.
I don't think that's what that meant. I copy what's on the receipt, but I never got the impression it was credit card. So I'll have to look at that one and see what it was. I've got the receipts in there for
Okay.
most
I
of,
just saw it was
most
smokes
of
and
them.
donuts. And
There is donuts on there, and these aren't my purchases. I don't have a debit card, so I cannot justify those purchases to you. I just write what's on the receipt. But I would also like to apply for some Cenex fleet cards for you guys too. When you do that, you get a fuel discount because you're a municipality, so one, that saves you a lot of money. Two, it separates your fuel into its own vendor, because right now fuel is primarily going on the debit cards and not on your town and country account. But the Cenex fleet card is even better because you get the fuel discount. So I would like to do both, credit cards for department heads and Cenex fleet cards. Then it should reduce a lot of the debit card transactions with the fuel being separated.
well, yeah, I mean, I noticed you spend a lot of every other day with buying fuel.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
I mean,
Yeah, Christie and I sat down yesterday, I think it was, and we started looking at how often these trips are.
That's, I
And
mean,
it's something I've got to talk about. I wasn't aware of it till we're donuts.
yeah, well, that's
It
what I'm
said, the
saying.
receipt
Something
said
we should-
food for volunteers. I don't know what that meant. And it was purchased
Oh,
on a
it's for
Saturday.
stuff that helped out down at the park.
Oh,
That's
Okay, so it was a pack of water and donuts. And the receipts are in my office.
Yeah,
You guys
when they
want to,
get-
oh, actually they're not. They're right here. I don't
Cleanup
think
and stuff
we're in
like
that
that.
purpose. Yeah, I believe it said for volunteers.
Okay.
I can tell you in
Say, I hadn't-
Bridger, most of our department heads have a $1,000 limit on their credit card. The clerk, I have a $3,000 limit because sometimes we need purchases larger than 1,000.
Now, is that a monthly tally, or
Yes,
is
because
that?
the credit card will only let you charge for a month, and then, it'll cut, and we'll get the bill, and we'll go ahead and pay it. And usually by the time I pay it, they haven't come anywhere close to maxing it out
And
again.
what is the bucket for skid steer for $280 or $282 4 times?
Right, so the 4 times is just how I divide it out. I assumed the skid steer is used for pretty much everything, so I took some out of the general fund, the water fund,
Oh,
and the
okay,
sewer
that's
fund.
why they
That's why
broke
you
out.
see it
Okay,
4
okay.
times, because I have to code it that way. So, because your guys' garbage fund has been thin for a long time, I don't take a lot out of there. It's an enterprise fund, and you should be charging things out of there. But right now, I've been taking things out of general fund streets, general fund parks, water, and sewer. That's when I divide something that I
Okay.
feel is used for all the town. Those are the 4 places I take it out of. So that's why that claim is, 1, super long, because I have to code everything like that, and 2, because I like to write out the charges so that you guys know what you're approving.
I guess my question is what does Marcus need a credit card for?
Well, I know there's times where you go to purchase something and we don't have a credit account with that company, and you can take the time to set it up, but sometimes you don't have that kind of time. So, It's up to you. If you guys don't want one,
I just
that's
was curious.
fine.
I mean, everything that he should be buying for the town is bought through an accredited account.
And it
If that's how
should
you want it to
be
be.
on account.
It's not always. I mean, my
Not-
employees have credit cards too.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just
Well,
asking.
as you know, if you go down there on a Sunday, you have to go where someplace is open to get a part. But using a debit card or a credit card every day or every other day is uncalled for.
Would, do you guys do it through just like one of the banks that you set it up, or is there
So-
like a Montana one that we can run? It's like for municipal.
Bank of Bridger has one that you can just apply through them, and you can get a business one through them. That's where Bridger does ours, is through the Bank of Bridger. The Cenex fleet cards is done through Cenex, but then they're good at any Cenex in the state. So when your employees travel for conferences and stuff, if they're taking a town vehicle, they can then use those cards on the road too. So those are really nice. The credit card could really be through anybody. It doesn't have to be. It's just easier to do it through the Bank of Bridger since that's where all your accounts are, or most of your accounts are. So these are the receipts.
Personally, I think that our maintenance guy needs to have a credit card, and I think our town clerk needs to have a credit card. I don't think the mayor or any of the council need to have a city resident or credit card.
No.
No. Jerry, you got a question?
No, I think when you guys spend money like that, like where they buy the donuts and all that, shouldn't like at least 3 of the council members know that that money's spent for? You should talk to them instead of just spending it? Or did the other 2 council members know?
I wasn't down there, and I don't know who knew that he bought donuts and water for the cleanup crew.
Well, I think that's what the council is for, is to spend that money or not spend that money.
That's what I hope to accomplish with the spending policy, which
Okay.
is a couple more agenda items down.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
And generally speaking, sorry to throw my 2 cents in, generally speaking, the council makes large decisions on how spending should happen on large projects, and then the mayor is the one who oversees the day-to-day operations on smaller projects. And sometimes there's a gray area there, and that's where you put these policies in place, that the council can put these policies in place, that if there's over a certain dollar amount, then it does go to council, or if it's under a certain dollar amount, the mayor and the employees can make that decision.
And that's what you're spending.
that's exactly what I hope to accomplish, is what can a department head spend without approval from the mayor? And then what can they spend with just mayor approval? And then what else above that has to go to council? So that's what I would love to see in a spending policy. So you guys have a really clear idea, and there's no more questioning these charges. We
part
know
of that
exactly
is-
where they fall.
How expensive it is to go into a plumbing shop or a business in Billings and buy plumbing supplies for an 8-inch pipe. I mean, you're not gonna get out of there without $1,000 or maybe $1,500 worth of stuff.
Hopefully those places like Northwest Pipe, we have an account, and they just
And
charge
that's
it to
what
our
we
account,
need
and you
to
see claims
make
for
sure
those
that
as
we have.
well.
Yeah, credit cards should only be used when you have to use them, no?
Yeah, they're to me, a credit card should not be necessary every single day, even every single week. They're a rarity purchase, but
That is true.
that's what I like to see.
So what do we have then, what do you guys want here?
Well, I have a question.
Okay?
Like, let's say Mark needs something for the shop. He can't find it at the stores that we have accounts with. So what's he gonna do?
That would be the point of the credit card. That's why I feel a department head should have a credit card, is for instances like that.
Yep.
And in Bridger, that's why we have, most of the department heads have the $1,000 limit, and then myself as the clerk has a $3,000 limit, because then if they need something bigger, one of those other department heads, then they have to come to me, and then there's 2 department heads making that decision. One who's doing the budget, and usually it's the public works director, is the other one who needs something. So we work it out that way.
That makes more sense to me.
But we don't have a spending policy either, so we kind of
No, we need.
do whatever the current mayor is comfortable with. So, but I think spending policies are a really good idea.
Yes.
That would be a secondary choice on the credit card.
And just the way they come on a statement and they cut at the end of the month, so much better than the debit cards. These debit cards are really difficult to deal with, especially when I get us to balancing where I want us to be. This would be almost impossible to balance daily. So I couldn't. It would be a struggle.
Okay, so approve credit cards for employees and set credit limit. This question.
Yeah. What do I set the limit?
I think what we need is to have a credit card, and probably the limit for the credit card should be $1,000 for the maintenance, and $3,000 for the but then we'd have to get into the spending policy.
I will say too, Bridger, we started with all of them at 1,000. It was later in the process that we realized that somebody needed to have a higher limit. So you could start them all at 1,000. That's honestly would be my suggestion.
To start the clerk at 1,000?
Everybody at 1,000, yeah. Both the public works and whoever your clerk is.
Yeah, you could, if the item they need is
then we'd
more
have
than
to-
1,000, you could.
Then you're going to need to set up a credit account of some sort, yeah. So.
And then when we get there, if we have to raise it, then we get from the council.
It's easy to do. It'd just be a motion and a vote, and I'd call the credit card company. It's easy to raise down the line. I'd rather you start small and raise it later when you're more comfortable with where you're at.
Okay, because I have no idea how much the clerk would have to spend.
Yeah.
I mean, I go entire months without using my credit card.
Yeah, I would say the clerk's gonna be on a rarity if they gotta come in and she's
Yeah.
a bigger purchase.
Okay.
And there's usually ways when there's two department heads, so if they each had 1,000, you can combine credit for a purchase. So they'll move one person's credit to the other person's and allow you to purchase 2,000 on one card. So there's ways to do that if it's a bigger purchase that we can't get a credit account for some reason.
So do you guys want to approve the credit card?
What about the gas?
I would like to do Cenex fleet cards as well, but that's almost like a credit account, like what you have with Northwest Pipe, or we already have a Town and Country account. Those are very similar lines of credit, like you guys are already operating with. But it would give you that fuel discount, which I mean, it's only a couple of pennies on like $50. That's 2 pennies.
Do we need to add that into this?
Yeah, if you would motion to add the Cenex fleet card, I would like that. I think it would be good.
Yeah, I think tracking your fuel and hammering down on that's a big thing myself.
You can also use them to track mileage if you
Yeah.
force your employees to put the mileage in. It asks for it, but you don't have, you can bypass it with zeros.
Because you can see if it's actually being used to these vehicles cruising down the street on the house, but I move to approve credit cards at $1,000 limits where I would like to see them each start low, and then also approve the gas card for Cenex.
I'll second
I
that.
don't know if you can put a limit on the gas, can we?
Yeah, I mean, we have to apply for a credit account, and probably Cenex will set our limit, and then adjust it as needed. But whatever they give us will be plenty for the fuel.
Well, just, for instance, the other day, there was a little dump truck running back and forth there. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine they wouldn't go less than 2,000 or 3,000 gallons.
They're
And
diesel,
you guys
yeah.
certainly don't spend that in fuel, so you're going to be
Well,
okay.
and if we have an account, if we're going to do
There
it,
is
they
always
should.
surging at Town and Country. You do have one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's
So they
only in
shouldn't have to
Bridger or
have it.
Laurel. That doesn't help you outside of those two towns.
And I'd like to add to my motion, that I'd say we start tracking mileage at $1,000.
Okay.
That when they get fuel, they just drive it down, put it on their receipt, they get fuel again.
Maybe we can address that part in the personnel policy or somewhere. I'm not sure that this is the place I can enforce that, but.
Okay, so do we have a motion and a second to approve credit cards for employees and the credit limit set at $1,000, and also approve a fleet card for gas and diesel at Cenex. Do we have any public comments?
Is that Cenex card going to be just used for fuel, or can they put something else on there? Like, you can buy stuff in that store.
No, they can be used for anything at a Cenex station.
Okay.
Just like it just only works at a Cenex station. So if they had to buy like gloves or whatever, they can put those on there. So.